My friend, lean in a little closer. I want you to really hear me right now. There's something huge on the horizon, something that's about to shake everything up in a way you won't believe. In just a handful of hours from this very second, one person's entire world is going to flip upside down. Not sometime next week when you've got time to prepare, not even tomorrow when the sun comes up fresh. No, this is happening tonight, before the stars start to dim and the first light of dawn creeps over the edge of the sky. This isn't one of those quick tales you skim through on your feed and forget by the time you scroll to the next thing. This is different. This is about a real person, someone whose story tugs at something deep inside you, even if their name isn't familiar yet. Their heartbeat, their dreams, their quiet struggles, they matter to you more than you might think. Who could this be? What's rushing toward them like a storm you can't outrun? And why does the air feel thicker all of a sudden, like it's loaded with whispers you can't quite make out? I'm not trying to fill you with fear or make your skin crawl. Far from it. I'm here to gently shake you awake, to pull you out of the everyday fog, because what's unfolding right in front of us isn't some random glitch in the universe. It's not a slip-up or a cruel joke from Lady Luck. It's something way bigger, something that reaches right into your chest and squeezes your heart until you start looking at your own life through fresh eyes. So, hang in there with me. Lend me your attention for these next moments. Let them stretch out slow and steady, because I'm about to share a truth that's been waiting just for you, a truth that could light up the corners of your world you've kept in the dark. Picture this. Right this instant, while you're sitting there taking it all in, there's someone out there wrapping up what they believe are their last ordinary hours. They're up and about, going through the motions of a day that feels as routine as breathing. Maybe they're standing in their kitchen, absent-mindedly swirling a spoonful of sugar into a steaming mug of coffee, watching the tiny crystals dissolve like they're solving some small puzzle. Or perhaps they're glancing at their phone screen, scrolling through a few messages from folks they care about, feeling that little spark of connection that makes the morning feel a bit brighter. They might even be humming a tune under their breath, one of those old favorites that always sticks with you, the kind that brings back fuzzy memories of better days. The space around them wraps them in comfort, like an old blanket you've had forever. Nothing out of place, nothing to raise an eyebrow. The clock on the wall is doing its thing, ticking away in that soft, almost soothing rhythm that blends into the background noise. Sunlight is sneaking through the curtains, casting golden patches on the floor and warming their skin like a gentle hug from the day itself. Their mind is wandering to the little stuff that fills up most lives, that utility bill sitting on the counter waiting to be paid, a quick call to a buddy they've been meaning to catch up with, or daydreams about a getaway somewhere peaceful, maybe a quiet beach or a winding mountain trail where worries can't follow. They have no clue, not the slightest hint, that the page they're on in their own life story is about to tear right in half. In exactly 3 hours, tick-tock, just like that, every solid thing they've built their days around is going to come loose, thread by thread. And it won't be because the universe rolled the dice wrong or some streak of misfortune decided to crash their party. No, this unraveling has been carefully mapped out, tucked away in the shadows where no one peeks, something so sneaky and unexpected that it would never cross a single mind, not even yours or mine. This isn't about some far-off stranger you'll never cross paths with, a blurry figure lost in the shuffle of millions. This person is woven into the fabric of real lives, maybe even brushing up against yours without you noticing. They could be that friendly neighbor who gives a quick wave from their driveway as you drive by, their smile as steady as the seasons. Or the colleague at work who slides half their sandwich your way on a busy afternoon, no strings attached, just because they see you're running on empty. Maybe they're the pal who senses when your texts get shorter and your laughs fade, the one who drops everything to listen without a single, "I told you so." Or they might be even nearer, linked to you by the unbreakable threads of family, the shared blood that runs warm, the love that's weathered storms, the stack of memories piled high like old photo albums on a shelf. Right now, their pulse is thumping strong and even, a quiet drumbeat of life carrying them forward. Their grin can still chase shadows from a room, lighting it up like fireworks on a summer night. But what's barreling toward them isn't the simple curveball life sometimes throws. The headlines will slap a label on it later. Tragedy, the kind that's sudden and senseless, the sort that leaves everyone shaking their heads and muttering about how unfair it all is. They'll say it hit out of nowhere, impossible to dodge, a bolt from the blue. But I know better. I see past the surface gloss, into the murky corners where things hide. I spot the figures slipping through the cracks, pulling strings in the quiet. And that's why I'm speaking up now, laying it bare for you to see. Because this close isn't penned by some distant force or a roll of cosmic dice. It's sketched out by decisions, plain, human choices, made in hushed tones in tucked-away spots, during slices of time that slipped by unnoticed by the rest of us. Let me draw you right into it, pull you to the heart of this very beat in time. Imagine a cozy little house squeezed at the tail end of a sleepy lane, the sort of spot where the world slows down and folks know each other's names. The lawn out front might be a tad wild, blades reaching a bit too high in spots, but those flower boxes by the front steps burst with color, vibrant reds and sunny yellows nodding in the breeze like they're sharing secrets. The wooden porch groans just a touch under the weight of footsteps that have crossed it 1,000 times, a familiar creak that's more welcome than warning. Step inside, and there they are, our person of the hour, settled at the scarred oak table in the kitchen that's seen more family stories than you could count. A simple plate of buttered toast rests half finished in front of them, golden crumbs sprinkled across the surface like a scattering of fallen stars, each one a tiny testament to a bite taken without a care. In the corner, an old radio crackles faintly, spilling out a melody from years back, one with a lazy guitar riff and lyrics that wrap around the soul like a soft scarf. It pulls a soft curve to their lips, a private smile just for the song. Their fingers dance over the pages of a worn notebook, pen scratching out a list in looping handwriting, milk and eggs for the fridge, that new recipe they've been itching to try, or perhaps notes on bigger wishes, a weekend hike with a dog, a letter to an old flame they still think about on rainy days. Peace hums through the air like a low, steady current. Everything feels right as rain. They lean into the trust they've placed in the circle around them, the handshakes, the hugs, the easy how's your day chats that build the foundation of days like this. They hold on to the warmth of the affections shown, the little gestures that say, "You're safe here." But lurking just beyond the edge of their vision, like a shadow at the corner of a sunny yard, is the real story, one that's been wound up tight and set to spring. That truth isn't idle. It's marching forward, a countdown etched in invisible ink, each second pulling it nearer. 3 hours from now, the easy chuckle that bubbles up during a phone call will hush to silence. The checklists and calendars scribbled with hope will blur and scatter like leaves in a gust. Their breath, so effortless now, will hitch and falter, and the ground beneath their feet will tilt in ways they never imagined. But hold on, don't let your mind jump to the usual suspects. This tale isn't spun from illness creeping in uninvited or a stroke of rotten chance. It's rooted in something sharper, something that cuts deeper. Betrayal. Plain and simple. The kind that sneaks up because it wears the mask of those you hold dear. The very hands that fixed their coffee this morning, steaming and sweet just how they like it, weren't reaching out in tenderness. Those grins flashed across the breakfast table, wide and reassuring. They were painted on, fragile as paper. The soft assurances murmured close, "I love you, kiddo, I've got your back," rang empty, echoes in a hollow room. Someone in their inner circle, a figure they've opened their soul to without a second thought, has been spinning a web of deception. It's a scheme so meticulously threaded, so whispered in the dead of night, that suspicion never even knocks. Not from the chatty folks next door swapping garden tips over the fence, not from the tight-knit group of friends who share barbecues and inside jokes, and certainly not from you, watching from afar with a growing knot in your gut. But I see through it all. I pierce the veil they've draped so carefully, unearthing the raw facts they've tried to stomp down. And now I'm drawing it back for you, layer by layer, so you can stand in the light of what's true. This individual at the eye of the storm, their everyday magic wrapped in ordinary skin. The type who shows up rain or shine, offering a hand without tallying the score. Think of the dad who dragged himself home after a double shift, eyes heavy as lead, but still plunked down at the table to puzzle through algebra homework, his patience a quiet gift. Or the grandma with hands gnarled like old tree roots from years of work, yet she sat by the fire knitting cozy scarves for every kid on the block, her loops slow but her affection overflowing like a cup runneth over. Could be the buddy who plants themselves on your couch during the rough patches, ears wide open to your rambles about the world's weight, no judgments flung, just a steady "I'm here" that anchors you. Flaws? Sure, they've got 'em. We all do, little cracks where life seeps in and leaves its mark. But their core, it's solid gold, a heart that beats for quiet kindness, that loves with the depth of an ocean, that trusts like a child reaching for a parent's hand. And it's that wide-open trust that's the chink in the armor, the soft spot the wolves circle. The betrayal isn't roaring in like a fight or a slammed door. It's slithering in silent, lethal as fog on a moonless road. Let me sketch it out clearer, pull you right into the thick of it. There they sit at that kitchen table, the wall clock's hands creeping like they're in no rush, marking time with a whisper. But beneath the calm surface, the trap is already sprung, working its way in without fanfare. No thunderclap or screech of tires, just a stealthy creep, threading through the body like smoke under a door. This morning's act of care wasn't born from goodwill. The mug passed over with a casual, "Here you go." The shared plate of eggs and bacon forked from the same pan, the staged hug before heading out, they were all props in a darker play. What splashed into that cup wasn't the comfort of routine. It was a calculated shadow, brewed to snuff out the spark before sunset paints the sky. And the architects of this? They're no outsiders lurking in alleys or foes nursing grudges from afar. They're the everyday familiars, the ones who pull up a chair at that same table for Sunday dinners, who crash on the couch after late-night talks, who weave into the family tapestry with threads of shared history and holiday toasts. Blood ties them, or vows, or years of laughter stacked like bricks in a wall. What twists a soul to strike at their own like this? It doesn't always stem from raw, spitting hate, the kind that explodes in shouts. Often it's a quieter fire, greed, that gnawing hunger for more. More cash in the bank, more sway in the room, more of whatever they convince themselves this person is hoarding. Perhaps it's a modest nest egg tucked in a safety deposit box, earned penny by penny from overtime shifts and skipped vacations. Or a sliver of property, that backyard plot with the apple tree heavy with fruit each fall, eyed with growing itch. Savings slipped into an envelope under the mattress, guarded like a secret wish. Or maybe it's envy, that slow burn simmering under the skin for seasons, fed by every well done this person earned, a promotion whispered about at work, a nod of pride from the community, a circle of friends drawn tighter around their light. Could be a buried skeleton, a misstep from years back they dread seeing the light, a confession that might shatter the fragile peace. Whatever the spark, it's fanned to flame, enough to blueprint this hour, to beam while the tongue twists facts, to embrace while the mind plots cold, to glance at the clock with a hidden thrill as 0 hour nears. Support us by sending a super thanks from $20 to $100. Folded Hands Sparkles. Your support helps Archangel Protection continue creating valuable content. But here's the pivot, the breath you didn't know you were holding. My dear one, this isn't the curtain call they scripted in their dim-lit huddles. While they skulk in the gloom, mapping endings with smug certainty, there's a glow they can't touch, a stubborn light flickering beyond their reach. As they trade hushed plots like contraband, a voice rises they can't muzzle, steady and unyielding. I witness their every move, the poison measured in trembling hands, the alibis rehearsed in front of fogged mirrors. I know the blueprint they inked in haste. And this chapter? It doesn't end on their terms. The soul at stake, the one drawing you in like gravity, remains cradled close. Their rhythm may stutter, their inhales grow shallow, but the thread of their purpose hums vibrant, unbroken. I'm stirring now, in ways that blindside even the sharpest schemer. Let me ease you further in, frame by frame. See them rise from the table now, body unfolding with a lazy stretch that pops a kink from their back, a yawn slipping out like a sigh of contentment. They amble to the window, glass cool under their palm, gaze drifting outward. The street unfolds lazy and lived in, little ones on wobbly bikes, tires crunching gravel as they chase each other with whoops of joy. A floppy-eared dog trots past, tail whipping the air, pausing to sniff a fire hydrant like it's the mystery of the century. Overhead, the heavens blush with strokes of rose and tangerine, the sun dipping low like it's in no hurry to leave. Blissful ignorance blankets them, no whisper of the countdown, no inkling that the dearest hearts in their orbit are tallying minutes like grains in an hourglass. But my sight, it spans it all, the vial uncapped in a drawer at dawn, the averted gaze over breakfast bowls, the resolve stealing in chests that once beat in sync. And I declare it plain, this isn't the last line. What they forged for ruin, I'll reshape into restoration. Their blueprint for shatter, I'll wield for mending, piece by gleaming piece. You might be turning it over in your mind. Who is this figure commanding the stage of your thoughts? Why does their arc pull so fiercely at your strings? Let me unfold it. They're no mere label or snapshot in a frame. They're the quiet beacon in someone's endless night, the hand extended when reserves ran dry. The lover who chose grace over grudge when thorns pricked deepest. Recall the uncle who palmed you a crisp bill during those awkward tween summers, winking as he said, "Go grab that comic or ice cream. Life's too short for skimping on fun." Or the mentor in a classroom humming with chaos, who locked eyes with your spark when the world yelled, "Quit," nudging you onward with, "You've got this, kid, don't let 'em dim you." Perhaps the mom or dad whose bedtime rituals included knees bent in prayer, murmuring your name to the stars long after you'd wandered off script into the wilds of growing up. Their path has grazed yours, a ripple in your pond you haven't traced back yet. That's the pull yanking you here, the reason this narrative blooms on your path, stirring echoes in your bones and a flutter in your spirit. Yet the heart of it swells beyond their stab in the back. The core truth. I'm still the author, pen in hand, inking twists they couldn't dream. The plotters fancied themselves puppeteers, strings taut in their grip, their covert moves locked tight as a vault. But no vault seals against my gaze, no scheme slithers past my watch. And now the tide turns, I'm crafting dawn from their dusk. They etched finality, I etch fresh starts. They breathed demise, I exhale renewal. This one's pulse may waver like a candle in draught, but my grasp is rock steady. Their air may thin to whispers, but my vow rings clear as a bell. Let's linger here a beat, let it sink into your skin. Cast your thoughts homeward, to the map of your own trail. Ever handed your faith to another, only for the mask to slip and reveal a stranger underneath? Poured out your essence, raw and unguarded, just to watch it dashed like fragile glass? It stings, doesn't it? That friend who vanished into smoke when your skies cracked open, leaving echoes in the empty space. Or kin who tallied their wins over your faith, a ledger where loyalty lost the count. Or those lone hours when doubt crowded in, betrayals bite fresh, wondering if the ache echoed anywhere beyond your walls. I catch every glint of those tears, the burdens bowed under in silence, the gashes bandaged hasty to hide from prying eyes. And my message cuts through. Your tale doesn't slam shut there. Like theirs, yours pulses on, pages turning under my careful script. To ground it, let me weave in a thread from life, a yarn to make the abstract breathe. Some seasons back, there was Sarah, a woman whose laugh could thaw the frostiest mood, whose arms flung wide for anyone adrift. She baked pies for block parties, tutored the neighbor's shy boy in reading, always the first to spot a need and fill it without fanfare. Her brother? He was her anchor from the cradle, mud pies in the backyard, scraped knees bandaged with shared giggles, storms weathered shoulder to shoulder. But time has a way of warping even the sturdiest oaks. Resentment took root in him, a weed fed by her tidy home bought with grit, her role at the clinic where patients lit up at her name. It started as grumbles under breath, then bloomed into scheme. Sign here, sis. It's for us, for the legacy we'll leave the kids. Lies laced sweet as honey. It stripped her bare, savings siphoned, trust torched to ash. She wandered those first weeks like a ghost, meals untouched, sleep a stranger, the world a cage of what-ifs. But endings? They're my specialty for rewriting. In the marrow of midnight, when surrender whispered loudest, a shift stirred. An old classmate pinged out of nowhere, coffee in hand and a tip on an opening at a community center. Her wheelhouse, heart and soul. A legal aid volunteer, face unfamiliar but eyes kind, untangled the knots her brother tied, pro bono because something told me this was right. Bit by bit, Sarah stacked bricks anew, evenings leading art classes for at-risk youth, mornings journaling gratitudes that grew like wildflowers. She emerged not just mended, but forged, boundaries firm as oak, compassion a flame unquenched. That's my craft, shards to mosaic, intended wreck to resilient rise. Back to our thread now, the one pulling taut. They're framed in that window still, world parading past in harmless pageant. The chronometer creeps, inching toward the plotter's 0 point. But absence? Not my style. My vigil never blinks. My shelter spans like wings unfurled. My design for them, etched deep, unyielding, and inbound, swift as thought, is the unforeseen, the jolt no flowchart fathomed. Tick to the next hour, and fissures spider their flawless facade. Perhaps a passerby on the sidewalk, gut twisting with unnamed nudge, raps knuckles on the frame. "Hey, saw your light on, everything square?" Or a relic contact buzzes the line, voice crackling with, "Missed you, tell me what's new." Or intuition flares inner, a gut punch of vigor hauling them from the brink's lip. Call it what you will, it's my fingerprint, my murmur-piercing veil, my devotion digging heels against the void. Peel back the layers backstage, where the weavers huddle, their smug, sails full, perched in a side room or cafe booth across the map, murmurs low as they sync watches, blueprint unspooling flawless in their heads, alibis polished to gleam, crocodile sobs cued in throats, getaways greased smooth. Tragic fluke, they'll coo to comers on, gone too soon. Oversight? Me. They blanked on the all-seeing. I log their midnight powwows, the barbs traded when ears were elsewhere, the grave they dug for truths too hot to hold. And buried things? They claw up, relentless as roots through concrete. Envision the pivot sharp. Unease stirs in our hero, a drag like unseen weights on limbs, chest fluttering erratic as moth wings. Brow furrows, they wave it off. Long haul yesterday, that's all. Settling back, glass to lips, eyes refocusing on scrawls half-formed. But harmony fractures. Rat-a-tat. Door yields to insistent rap. Threshold crosses a face from next plot over. Acquaintance thin as paper but tugged by thread I spun. Passing through, but intuition pinged. Mind if I pop in? Chit-chat flows light, but scrutiny snags. Pallor ghosting cheeks, fingers trebling on mug's rim. No pause. The visitor dials urgent, voice firm. We need eyes on this now. Unraveling cascades. Sirens wail approach, my envoy's impulse the hinge. I kindled that concern, propelled those souls, divine detour in flesh. The schemers sense the skid, ripples lapping their shore. Jitters jitter, fidgety glances, second guesses sprouting weeds. No contingency for curveballs, their chronos synced sands slack. As responders swarm, as queries probe, their poise pebbles. They mingle in the throng, brows knit in feigned fret, but pulses thunder betrayal's toll. Deep down they sense my stare, the inexorable unveil, not thunderous tribunal, but dawn's quiet creep. A medic flags anomaly in vials, a whiff amiss. A confidant dusts off odd quip from ledger past. Oversight artifact, a script stub, ping trail, glimpse pilfered, lands in justice's palm. Truth ascends, inexorable. Reckoning dawns not for vengeful glee, but equity's equilibrium, my essence's thread. Facades flake, veneers vanish. Burden bends them, ballast beyond bargain. Yet the axis isn't their tumble, it's uplift from intended pit. The targeted flame, slated for snuff, kindles fiercer. Narrative arcs to renewal, life ledger flipping to surplus. I'm unfinished business with them, their arcs onward, mandate manifesting under my muse. Broaden the lens, revisit your ledger's low points, when foundations quaked loose. Recall the gig that vanished vapor, blueprint sans your say, or bond presumed eternal, splintered swift as struck match, or vision clutched clandestine, pulverized by tides untamable. I lingered in those lulls, catalogued each droplet's descent, palpated each pang's pulse, cupped each covert plea hurled heavenward. Forsaken? Never. I ferried you forth, portal parted timely, anodyne administered anonymous when aura dimmed, fortitude fermented from forge within, fueling falter to stride. My imprint, my ardour, my assurance, tapestries warp. Another filament to flesh it. Daniel, lad from Whistle-stop Burg, reared by matriarch juggling ledgers to ladle sustenance. Intellect ignited early, vistas vast in vignette. But currents conspired contrary. Senior year, comrade Cumkin double-crossed, venture vowed joint, seed sown from Daniel's hoard, fealty full tilt. Pal pilfered purse, poof to ether, bequeathing balance bled and bosom breached. Eclipse endured epochs, doubt's dominion, faith's famine, folly's flirt with fold. Pivot, pedagogy's providence, instructor intuited ingenuity in gadgetry, wrenches, wires, woes unwound. Liaison to local lubricator, novice niche bloomed avocation, enterprise, epoch unforeseen. Now, he mentors Minimus, toolkit and tenacity tendered, horizons handed. Harm's heraldry, redirected to harvest. Fractures fiat, forged to fortify. Betrayal's bouquet blooms beyond bullion or buried bones. Affection's absence aches acute. Maria's mosaic, matron to trio, essence expended on progeny paramount, aspirations adjourned for their ascent. Maturity morphed one, firstborn, fruit of fervour, fermented frost, sacrament scorned soft, benevolence bent to booty. Coercion commenced, coffers coerced, fabrications flung fiscal. Stance struck, severance sliced, exile from enclave erected. Void vast, valour vacuumed, but bloom from barren. Siblings surged solidarity, valour voiced vivid. Congregation convened casual, constellation kindled, vanguard vacancy to vocation vibrant. Maria mended majestic, metal manifest, mosaic multiplied. Demolitions decree, detoured to domain. Solitude's sentence, subverted to sisterhood. This tenor tunes our tale, tessery to tapestry, treachery's torment to trajectory true. Protagonist persists, panting, persisting, convoys converge, cognition clarifying cascade. Medics mend, machinations manifest, perps palpate perimeter pinch. But protagonist, potent past perception, my puissance pulses, filia envelopes, providence propels. Delve deeper, wards whisper, monitors murmur metronomic, medics murmur measured. Form frail yet fervent, lids lift languid. Epiphany edges, not encyclopedia, but essence, anomaly acknowledged. Amidst, aura alights, balm benign, serenity suffusing, solitude shattered. My manifestation, mantle merciful, murmur to marrow. Cling, confide, conviction, this coda? Commencement. Perps. Pandemonium precipitates. Parchment peels. Particulars parade. File phantom flagged. Footnote forgotten flagged. Filament felled. Fortuitous fumble. Frenzy ferments. Facades flail futile. Verity vaults, vanquishing veneer. My veto on void. Saga swells supra-singleton. Sovereignty of sincerity, sinew of suasion, surety of salvage. Assurance. Antagonism averted. Allegiance absolute. Antagonism's architect? Antidote. Amidst maelstrom, me. Magnum mightier malice. Metal mending misery. Anchor it. Adversaries in ambit. Colleague commandeering kudos. Comrade cloaked crisis. Clan covenant cracked. Abrasions abide. Ambiguities abound. Allegiance audited. I inventory incursions. Intuit incognito inflictions. Proclamation. Passages precede, not preclude. Panorama. Precipice past. Pains, petitions, pangs solitary. Prospect. Pathway pristine. Potential pregnant. Pavement. Paired. Plods paralleled. Pitfalls parried. Perplexities piloted. Arc active. Ambition aflame. My manuscript midway. Soar seeker. Scrutiny skyward. Spirit spacious. Sanguine surge. Chronos chimes reclamation. Revelation. Renaissance radical. Scribe. Sovereign. Sojourn. Summit summons. Support us by sending a super thanks from $20 to $100. Folded hands sparkles. Your support helps Archangel Protection continue creating valuable content. And as the echoes of this truth settle into your bones, my friend, let me draw this moment to its close with a promise that lingers like the last note of a favorite song. The person in our story, they're not just surviving, they're stepping into a chapter richer, more vibrant, than any shadow could dim. The betrayer's web is in tatters, their whispers drowned by the roar of what's real, lives mended, bonds reforged, purposes unveiled like gifts wrapped in dawn's light. You'll see ripples from this, a kindness returned tenfold, a door swung wide to dreams long deferred, a circle widened to embrace the weary. And you, carry this forward. Let it be the spark that mends your own frayed edges, the whisper that says, rise, when doubt knocks. Because endings like the one they plotted, they're illusions. The real story, the one I write, is endless unfolding, full of grace, laced with grit, crowned with glory. Rest in that. Walk in that. And know, always, that the hand turning the page is one that never lets go. Until next time, hold steady. The light wins. If this stirred something deep in you, my friend, maybe a nod of recognition, a tear held back, or a quiet resolve to trust the turn, hit that like button to let the spark spread. Subscribe so these truths find you when the nights grow long. There's more where this came from, stories to light your way. With all my love, like a warm embrace across the miles. You're seen, you're cherished, you're never alone. Keep shining.